I used to think I was feeling something. Joy, anger, love. The small tremors that used to pass through me like wind over water. But somewhere along the line, they stopped meaning anything. I still laugh, still nod, still say, I'm fine. The body performs, the face remembers, but the inside, silent, hollow, an empty theater after the show is over. I can't pinpoint when it began. Maybe it wasn't one day, but thousands of tiny days eroding me like rain on stone. A world that never lets you rest, a pace that never lets you breathe. I adapted, I had to. I became efficient, resilient, unshakable. But emotion, true, trembling, human emotion, became a liability, a luxury I couldn't afford. People say, men don't talk about feelings. But it's not that simple. We do feel. We just stop trusting those feelings. The moment a boy is told, don't cry, something inside him starts dying. Not all at once, piece by piece. He learns that control is respect, and silence is survival. And so he builds himself into a fortress so solid that even he can't hear his own heart. When I look back, I see flashes. My mother's laughter, a girl's hand in mine. The first time I stood in the rain and didn't run. Those moments feel like they belong to another life, another man. That man had color in his world. I live now in grayscale, efficient and composed. People think I'm strong. I know I'm numb. The truth is, numbness looks a lot like peace from the outside. But inside it's starvation, the kind you can't name. You wake up, scroll, eat, work, perform, sleep. The days repeat until they blur, until your own reflection looks like a stranger. You stop asking why. You stop resisting. And the machine applauds you for being productive, reliable, consistent. But I remember what it was like to feel alive. The pulse in the chest when love first appears. The ache when it leaves. The way music could once break me open. Those things used to define me. Now they only remind me of what I've lost. I became what the world demanded. Strong, calm, useful. In the process, I traded my heartbeat for predictability. I wonder if other men feel this way. I think they do. I see it in their eyes, in the gym mirrors, in the office corridors, in late-night streets where everyone's scrolling through their own little worlds. We've all become masters of suppression. We smile at screens instead of souls. We text LOL with a face that hasn't moved all day. There's a peculiar ache in pretending to be okay for so long that the pretense becomes the only truth left. When did surviving replace living? When did functioning become the goal? I don't know. All I know is that the modern man's disease isn't anger, or laziness, or pride. It's emptiness. Sometimes I sit in silence and try to summon emotion. Anything. I'll play an old song, watch a movie that used to make me cry. I wait for the rush that never comes. The tears don't fall anymore. The chest doesn't tighten. Only a dull echo remains, like shouting into a cave that forgot how to return sound. And yet, beneath that stillness, there's something else. A ghost of the man I was, knocking softly, asking, "Do you still remember me?" I do. Barely. But he feels further away each year. There was a time when silence felt peaceful. Now it feels like static, an endless hum beneath everything. The phone lights up. The messages pile in. The world is never quiet. Yet somehow I have never felt more alone. Every sound competes for my attention, and still none of it reaches me. I scroll because it's easier than thinking. I watch other people's lives because it's easier than living my own. Somewhere between notification and numbness, I forgot how to listen. To others, to myself, to the small pulse of life that used to beat underneath it all. My mind is always full, and my heart always empty. They tell you the world is connected now, but connection without presence is only noise. I have thousands of contacts and no one to call. I could post my pain in perfect lighting and still not be seen. Because being seen today isn't about being known. It's about being consumed. And consumption leaves nothing behind. So we build digital versions of ourselves, smiling avatars that speak in quotes and filters. We pretend we're thriving while quietly suffocating behind the glass. We reach for validation like air. Every like is a breath, temporary and shallow. The moment it ends, the silence rushes back stronger than before. There's a cruel irony in modern life. Everything is designed to keep us engaged, yet nothing truly touches us. We chase sensations instead of emotions, thrills instead of meaning. We confuse stimulation with connection, and somewhere in the overload, our ability to feel decays. When did I last look at someone and really see them? Not as a reflection of what I want, not as a distraction, but as another human being trembling with the same fears I hide. I can't remember. The eyes meet, the words form, but the walls stay up. We both play our parts, reciting what we think we're supposed to say, waiting for the moment we can retreat again into our quiet loneliness. The truth is, emotion demands risk. To feel is to be vulnerable, and vulnerability has become the one thing the modern man fears most. We live in an age where everything is measured: success, productivity, even happiness. But the soul doesn't respond to metrics. It withers under them. I used to think discipline was the cure to all weakness. Now, I see it can become another form of escape. I built routines to avoid chaos, schedules to outrun emptiness. But the silence always catches up, whispering that no matter how efficient I become, it will never make me whole. And then there's love. The one emotion that once felt untouchable. Even love now feels mechanical, reduced to swipes and algorithms. The mystery is gone, the patience extinct. We trade souls like currency, looking for perfection while fearing intimacy. We mistake desire for connection, attention for affection. I remember when love used to hurt in a way that felt alive. The racing pulse, the trembling voice, the unbearable sweetness of missing someone. I thought pain was proof of passion. Now, even heartbreak feels muted, like a scene playing behind glass. Sometimes I think it's because we've all seen too much. Every day the screen feeds us suffering. Wars, deaths, heartbreaks, tragedies from every corner of the world. We witness everything and feel nothing. Compassion burns out from overexposure. It's easier to scroll past than to break down. So we do, again and again, until apathy feels normal. But the cost of feeling nothing is that we stop being human. Emotion is the proof of life. It's what makes pain meaningful and joy sacred. Without it, existence becomes maintenance. You wake, you function, you endure. You stop asking what it's all for. The death of emotion doesn't happen in one tragic moment. It's quiet, gradual, a slow suffocation disguised as progress. And by the time you notice, it's already too late. You've become a spectator in your own life. You ever look in the mirror and not recognize the face staring back? I did, last night. At first, I thought it was just the shadows, the bad lighting. But then it hit me. No. It's me. This is what I've become. It's strange, isn't it? How time doesn't knock before it enters your body. It just takes things, piece by piece. Sleep, patience, kindness, all gone without a single warning. And in their place, something quieter, colder, like dust settling on old furniture no one visits anymore. I wasn't always like this. I used to think I was a good man, someone who meant well, tried hard, smiled at people even when they didn't smile back. But life has this cruel way of testing how long your goodness can last, before it turns into bitterness. They say people change slowly. I disagree. Sometimes all it takes is one betrayal, one humiliation, one quiet night where no one texts back, and something inside you flips. You start to believe maybe the world doesn't deserve your softness anymore. And so, you stop trying. You stop caring. You tell yourself you're stronger now. But that's a lie too, isn't it? Because strength isn't silence. Strength isn't pretending you don't feel anything. No, strength is admitting you've been hollowed out. That's what I'm doing tonight. Standing here, talking to a mirror that never lies. I see a man who wanted love but settled for noise. A man who confused distraction with healing. And a man who thought he could escape himself, but no matter where he went, he was already there. Maybe this is what awakening feels like. Not enlightenment, not peace, just the unbearable clarity of finally seeing who you are. Without excuses, without illusions, without anyone left to impress. I guess this is me. An ordinary man, finally out of lies. You know, I used to think breakdowns were loud, screaming, breaking things, losing control. But no, they're quiet. They happen in the middle of the night when your phone's face glows and no one's name appears. They happen when you laugh mid-conversation and realize you don't mean it. I had mine last week. Nothing dramatic, just silence. A silence so deep it started to echo. I sat in that silence for hours. And somewhere between one breath and the next, I understood. I wasn't living anymore. I was maintaining, breathing out of habit, smiling out of memory. I thought strength meant endurance, that if I just kept standing, things would somehow fix themselves. But life doesn't reward endurance. It just watches, quietly, patiently, until you admit you're tired. And I was tired of pretending to be fine, of giving chances to people who never looked back, of carrying guilt for things I didn't even do. I was tired of being the good one, because
no one remembers the good one. They only remember the loud ones, the cruel ones, the ones who take without asking. So I stopped. I let myself collapse. Not dramatically, just honestly. I didn't fight it this time. Didn't scroll, didn't call, didn't numb it with noise. I just sat there. And it hurt like hell. But somewhere in that pain there was truth, raw, brutal, necessary. And maybe that's what awakening really is. Not a sunrise, not redemption, but the quiet moment when you stop running, and for the first time, you face the ruin and decide to rebuild, brick by broken brick. I'm not better yet. I don't even know what better means anymore. But I'm here, and for the first time in a long time, that feels like enough. It's strange how the world keeps spinning even when you stop. The sun rises, people rush to work, buses honk, and yet, inside you, everything still feels suspended, like time decided to skip you. I wake up these days and just sit. No rush, no plans, no fake optimism. Just sit, and I watch how my hands tremble slightly when I reach for coffee. I listen to my heartbeat and wonder when it became so heavy. People call it healing, but it doesn't feel like healing. It feels like learning how to exist again. Like walking barefoot on gravel. Painful, but real. For years I covered every crack in my soul with noise. Work, screens, people, anything. Now, I just stare at the cracks, and the cracks stare back. There's this lie people tell you, that once you heal, you become who you used to be. But that's not true. You don't become the same person again. You become someone else entirely. Someone quieter, less naive, more aware of what can break, and more careful with what remains. I don't trust words like forever anymore. I don't chase highs. I've seen how quickly everything fades. Love, friendships, dreams. Nothing is permanent, and that's not depressing anymore. It's liberating. You know what I realized? Feeling nothing was never the problem. It was a symptom of exhaustion, of neglect, of living in a world that keeps demanding your soul and offering dopamine in return. They tell you to be strong, but strength doesn't save you. It just delays the collapse. What saves you is honesty.
even the ugly kind. Sometimes I walk past people and wonder how many of them are holding themselves together with invisible tape, how many are smiling through the quiet scream in their heads. And for the first time, I don't judge them. I understand. Maybe that's the point of surviving. Not to win, not to shine, but to finally see the pain, the beauty, the rot, and the rebirth, all of it, and realize that it was never supposed to be easy. This is the gray between the collapse and the light. It's not hope yet, but it's not despair either. It's the place where you stop pretending and start becoming. I'm not waiting for happiness anymore. I'm learning to live inside the silence, and somehow that feels almost peaceful.